Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov's chess channel and welcome to the Magnus Carlsen Chess Tour in 2020. We're again in the semi-final stage. It's Magnus Carlsen versus Liren. So after two rounds the result was equal. So the first day Liren took the win, then the second day Magnus really improved his game, outplayed the Liren with great performances. Now we're in the day 3 and we're in the game number 3, in which Magnus Carlsen had, before this round 3, Magnus Carlsen had the 1-point lead. So if Magnus wins this game, then of course he'll win this third match game. In order to make it to the finals, you have to win 3 match games. So it's sort of a best out of the 5 match games that have to be played. But Magnus had some troubles, so it will be a Najdorf again. Magnus had some troubles against Ding in the Najdorf Sicilian. Let's see now what happened, because it was really an incredible and tactical chess game. So we're starting again round 3 and fight. So let's see, knight to f3. We have c5 by Magnus and now e4. So first we have the ratio opening, but now we have this Sicilian, the common Sicilian. After the move d6, d4, c takes d, knight takes d, and knight to f6, knight to c3, attacking the protecting the e4 pawn, and now a6, the Najdorf. And as I said, Magnus had some troubles with some positional lines of the Najdorf. In the game bishop to e3, played by Ding, we have e6 and now f3. The idea behind this move is clear. We're waiting black to castle on the king side, then we are creating a common attack. g4, h4, even g5, h5 is a possibility. In the game b5, Magnus counterattacks on the queen side, because most of the times white will castle queen side here, and we would have this opposite this common opposite side attack game, where both kings will be on opposite sides. So it's really always in a dynamic game. So here a3 played by Ding, which is sometimes unnecessary to play this move, although this b4 threat is always present. But you don't have to make that move because your e4 is protected. If you play something like queen to d2 and for instance b4 happens, you have knight to f4. In my opinion, it's a much better line. At least now we have attacked the pawn on b4, so white has protected everything so far and has a counterattack. After something like a5, we could play knight to b3, then b3, knight to b2, and then maybe remaneuver the knight to c4. So although black has some expansion on the queen side, but you leave also some spaces behind. You see bishop to b5 is an option, knight to c6, so many targets here on the queen side. And white didn't castle on the queen side, so white in this position could castle king side and use simply this weak squares in black's camp. So but okay, after the move b5 a3 by Ding, a more passive move, but it's not a mistake. I'm just saying, maybe from an opening theory, I really like more this queen to d2 idea immediately. Here bishop to b7, and we have now g4 played by Ding. h6, we have queen to d2. There is one problem for white always in the Sicilian. It happens most of the time. It's this pawn majority in the center by black. So black in most of the Sicilians has, of course, this 2 versus 1 on the in the center. And one of the main ideas of this chevening setup of the Najdorf Sicilian is to crack the position with the move d5, because we have a great control of that square. The e6 is protecting that, and the knight is protecting also the bishop. So maybe here a very important idea is to play the move g5, immediately attacking the knight after a takes g, bishop to g5, and now you see this d5. You cannot play e5. It's not a good line here for white. It seems like a dangerous move, but queen to c7 solves the positional problems. If you take e takes f6, then we have queen to e5. This tactic my father taught me, and I remember when he when he showed me this line, I remembered it, because it's really a counterattack here for black. So here white doesn't gain anything with the move e5, but I think we could play here e takes d5, and maybe here bishop to d5, and here bishop takes f6, queen to f6, and now knight to d5. Is still risky because we have maybe some dark square problems. But again, if the bishop takes here, still we could proceed with our common idea, queen to d2, and then follow with queenside castling. At least in this particular line we would have a better activity. But in the game after the move h6, Ding played the move queen to d2, knight to d7, and again queenside castling. And the tricky part of this opening is that Magnus will leave the king in the center, because this pawn structure, this flexible pawn structure, allows, as I said, Magnus to stay with the king in the center a little bit further, because e5 is not a possibility. We don't have really good moves in order to open somehow the e file and attack the king. So here, after the move knight to d7, we have rook to c8 played by Magnus, and now king to b1. And here Magnus uses this moment immediately. And if we evaluate who is faster now on the attack, I believe that black is slightly better here, even in this early stage of the game. It's really incredible how you can make these inaccuracies, because Magnus cracks the position even with the king in the center, which is really incredible. But as I said, we have a powerful control of the center with this bishop, with this e6 pawn, with the knight on f6. Here Ding takes, e takes d5, knight takes d5, and now bishop to d5. So this is now a very nice centralized bishop on d5. Black hasn't messed up his pawn structure so far, still with great attacking possibilities and counterattack possibilities. And the main idea is now finally to place moves as b4. b4 is very dangerous. Then we could proceed to rook to b8. In this opposite side attack games, it's sometimes very important to even sacrifice pawns just in order to make something happen, just in order to open files, diagonals, just attack your opponent's king. So in the game rook to g1, played by Ding, we have bishop to c5, a very active move by Magnus, and we have now f4, because there was this threat bishop takes d4 followed with bishop takes f3. So f4 played by Ding, we have knight to f6, and now bishop to d3. So here potential g5 move doesn't bring you so much anymore. H takes g, you can play maybe f takes g, but now knight to e4, this knight will come very active into the game. So it's not the same position that I've explained at the beginning of the video. So now it's a whole different story, because now the queen is under fire. We have still the possibilities, as I said, to play the move b4, splitting pawns in front of the king, and this is dangerous here already for white. So that's why bishop to d3. Ding develops the bishop on a very active square, and we have now queen to c7, queen to e1. The idea behind this move is, of course, to get the queen on the same file like the king, because Magnus played really risky game here. He stayed with the king very long time now in the center. The main idea is now probably to play the move f5 and really open the e file. But here Magnus plays now his first mistake in the game, knight to e4. Here Ding had a great attacking possibility, and he would take over, I believe, in the game. He should have played here knight to a6, which this tactic he missed. After bishop to e6, you see we can simply take the knight on e4. The bishop is deflected from the defense of the knight. So after the move knight to e6, if you try f takes e6, then you get simply bishop takes e4. After bishop takes e4, we can take bishop takes c5, and you see we have now a discovered attack on the bishop. What black could do is maybe bishop takes c2, king to c2, queen to c5. But now after king to b1, if we stop a little bit and evaluate the pawn structure, white has really comfortable game, as this pawn on e6 is a clear target. There are many weaknesses in black's position on light square, so this would be sort of a better continuation here for white, and I believe that Ding wouldn't lose this game even against Magnus. So, but he missed that move. After the move knight to e4, he played h4, and you see how slow white's attack is. White didn't make any progress here with g5. It's a little bit too late, because now Magnus improves simply the pieces. Queen to b7, with the ideas, of course, finally to crack the position with the move b4. So that's why Ding prevents this move c3, but now comes really the stunner. It's a really great move. Will add a Mortal Kombat laugh sort of to this particular move that Magnus Carlsen has played. He stopped the video and try to find really a great tactical shot that Magnus Carlsen, of course, saw. It's nice splitting pawn moves. It's the move bishop takes a3. So what to do? If you try b takes a3, then you get, of course, knight to c3. You see how dangerous it is when you play against Magnus. If you don't see your tactics, your tactical possibilities, then you get crushed. Knight to c3 is very dangerous. King to b2. We would simply continue to push b4, king to a1, and now knight takes d1, queen takes d1, and now rook to c3. This is the suggested stockfish line. It's a great line. We again create dangerous attacks. If you take, then you simply invite the queen into the game. Rook to a3 is a threat. It's game over simply here for white. So after the move bishop takes a3, Ding didn't know what to do. He played the move f5, trying really to make something happen now finally on the e file, but it was too late because Magnus simply pushes further, and here c4, played by Ding. He's trying to keep all of the files, the b file, the c file, the b, c, and a file. He's trying to keep these files locked because he doesn't want to have an open position in front of the king. But again, Magnus finds really again a great move. Again, pause the video and try to see really this great move by Magnus, which he of course saw. Now he has really sort of an attacking flow. Here the move is knight to c3, played by Magnus. We will add another laugh to this move because it's such a great splitting pawn move. You have to react. What to do? If you try here b takes c3, then you get simply b takes c3. The only way to prevent black from checkmating you is to play knight to b5, but we'll simply take bishop takes c4. So we take the pawn, which is the protector of the knight. Still, we're continuing the game with this direct attack against white king, and again it's game over. So after the move knight to c3, king to a1 was played, but now Magnus plays bishop to c4. We have f takes e6, and now finally Magnus castles, continues his attack still, but secures the king, because now finally Ding managed to open the e file, but it was, as I said, a little bit too late, because now bishop to c4, rook to c4, and you see this great activity of these minor pieces of this rook. Here by Ding, we have rook to d2, and now bishop takes b2. This was again a great tactic. If you try rook takes b2, then you get simply queen to c7. This is a serious threat, queen to a5 with this checkmate threat, so you cannot cover with the rook as the knight is protecting this. So here king takes b2 was played, and now b3. This was an inaccuracy now by Magnus. A better idea is to play immediately knight to a4 after something like king to b1, queen to e4 wins the game, I believe, immediately. But Magnus played the move b3, and it allows now basically Ding to have really a great line. It's e takes f7. Maybe Ding could have hang on to this position, and now here knight to b3 was played by Ding, but he made the mistake again. He played this move knight to b3. He should have proceeded here with the move rook to f2, at least counter-attacking somehow. Maybe this idea works now for Magnus. Knight to f4, king to b1, queen to g6, but now knight to f5 holds the position at least for a while. Maybe this is playable. Maybe white can defend here, because white is still, of course, a piece up, but you see there are always these tactical threats also with h5, splitting the pawn, which is the protector of the queen. King to h7 is the suggested line by the engine here to simply secure the king. Still, black has, of course, this very nice 2 pawns on the queen side. But as I said, after the move queen to f7, Ding plays the mistake knight to b3, and here after rook to b4, in this position, Ding resigned. There's nothing you can do. You cannot protect your knight on b3. You can maybe take, but queen to b3 is, of course, immediately checkmate. So, great attack by Magnus. Great Najdorf. It was really an instructive Najdorf Sicilian. You saw how long he stayed with the king in the center. Incredible performance now by Magnus in the last 2 days. He is now in the lead. If he wins the match game tomorrow, then of course he'll move up to the finals, where he'll meet the winner between Hikaru Nakamura and Daniil Dubov. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was a great game with great tactics and tactical shots by Magnus. If you want to see more games played by this tournament, here is the link. You can also check out my previous analyzed games, and if you like this content, you can also subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best.